Today's episode is brought to you by a shirt signed by the entire Chinese Overwatch World Cup team.
Drop the beat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to High Noon Podcast, the competitive Overwatch podcast. I am your host, The Blevins, and with me, as always, is Deathblow. What's up, buddy?
Not too much. So much news
So
to
much
talk
stuff.
about.
So much stuff.
Infinity news. So let's just get right
Let's
into it.
just jump right into it. Yeah. So, Death, did you do anything fun and exciting last week?
Shut up, Blevins. No, it was honestly kind of a bummer week for me. Honestly, thank you to everybody, like the Omnic Lab guys, the Overwatch Score guys. I loved the fake pictures where you guys pretended like I was there, I was a plant in one of them.
We had one with bare hands, too. I just forgot to post it.
Oh, and then there was like an appropriately wide space left for me in the one with the Overwatch Score guys. Loved all of those, but at the same time, like, it's sad a little bit. Like, I wanted to be there so bad. So bad. But, I've never felt so loved and, distraught at the same time as watching all those tweets and everything go on. But there was so much information coming out, so much crazy stuff going on. And then my team disbanded. So there's that. So it was kind of a bad Overwatch week for me, but it was hard to be too bad of an Overwatch week for me with all the Overwatch League news we got, everything that's going on. So back to the tryout grind for me. But other than that, not a whole lot, really. Did some babysitting for my nieces and nephews, so that was fun.
Nice. That actually doesn't sound fun at all, but I'll take your word for it.
I mean, they're too old enough, but they're not like babies, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, I played Madden with them for 4 hours. So
that actually sounds awesome.
Right. It was a good time. We were like, I was making them bet their Halloween candy against me in games, and I would like give them a piece when they scored, and then if they beat me, they got at any point. If I lost a game of Madden, I was leaving every piece of candy at their house. When I did not lose, so I came home with some Reese's.
Nice. And I'm sure that they had fun too. So as many of you know, I was at BlizzCon. Actually, just got back a couple of hours ago, and I took a power nap before. I took a power nap, woke up, ate some pizza, and now I'm here. I needed to get myself back into New York feeling, so I needed to get some pizza, and really New York myself back, because I was in California for too long. I lost the taste, but yeah, so much stuff. I'm not even. I'll probably make a separate video, and if it's relevant to the podcast and Overwatch League and stuff, I'll post it on the High Noon. But otherwise, I'll just post it on my Twitter or something. But just to kind of go over some of the stuff and the people I met. But so many awesome stuff. So in terms of people that we've had on the show, met the Overwatch Score guys. Super cool. Taco and Mash, shout outs to them. They're super cool guys. Had some really good talks. Bare Hands as well. I hung out with him pretty much all weekend. Super cool dude. The Omnic Lab duo, Rob and Andres. Met up with them. Had some good times. Blazin' Bob and Mel Arena, who are friends of the show as well. Haven't been on the show, but are friends of the show, fellow Overwatch podcasters. I met up with them when we were it was late in the night, and we were at the one of the hotels, and there had been some beverages imbibed by all parties involved, and I don't even really remember the rest of that night, but it was fun. And I met a ton of people, so if I forgot someone, yell at me on Twitter or something. I'm sure I probably did. But yeah, it was just fun. So much stuff, so much love from everyone, and just so much. Like, my voice was dead for so long. Oh, Jimmy and Kick Tripod from Payload Podcast also met up with them too. But yeah, so much stuff. But enough about that. Enough about me. Let's talk about what you guys did last week, and we got some new patron hype. So we've got, I believe that I'm pretty sure this is a patron, Gareth P, who I believe is Icarium, or I could be wrong, but I think it's Icarium, is back at the $5 level. I didn't see a message from you, but you yelled at me for not reading your message, so I'm acknowledging the fact that I didn't see a message from you. And
he's failing you again.
I'm not failing. I actively tried. So let me know what your message is. If it's on Patreon, send it to me on Discord because I know I'll get it. But huge thanks, man. One of the OGs, honestly. He's been at odds with us. Not really, but just like in a playful way because he's from, I believe, the UK, and as you know, we're huge USA fans in every way, shape, and form, and we just constantly argue about
like every little thing. I won't budge an inch on anything the Europeans do. He won't budge an inch on anything an American has done. It's a lot of fun, to be honest. I have more fun with Icarium than a lot of people on the Discord. So by all means, if you like watching people make fun of each other and the general structures of the sports leagues, make sure you head over to the Patreon, or not the Patreon, but the Discord server. It is open now. You can get the links on the website, so we'll let you guys check those out. But really, it's been just Discord's been popping off like crazy. And another thing I want to mention, we have one of our regulars in the Discord, Raker, I'm not 100% sure how to say the name, but Raker is going to be running a little game here with the Overwatch League Season 1. He's going to be doing kind of a power rankings contest here. It's not really a pick'em like you would see with like the NFL and things like that, but essentially there's full rules on the Discord. It's got its own text channel, so check that out. But the prize is actually a Death Adder Elite with like the Overwatch symbol on it that he's putting up. This isn't us putting it up, he's putting it up. Myself, Raker, and the Blevins will not be eligible for that sweet prize, but we will be participating in the event.
I didn't agree to not be eligible for the prize.
I agreed for you.
Well, luckily I just bought a Death Adder Elite. It's not the Overwatch one though. Hold on. If I win, I'll trade it so you can put
trade it. We'll just pry the Overwatch logo off
the one in.
But yeah, so by all means, come on, check that out. If you have any ideas for any games you want to run, I love those little, they're not really prop bets, but those prop bet style, little mini games that you can do.
Yep.
I love those in all sports. So if you have any ideas of anything to run, by all means, we'll probably try to do something pick'em related for Season 1 as well. But
yeah, and you can probably hear me unzipping my backpack in the background, but I've got. Well, I have a BlizzCon backpack, but I've got all sorts of little stuff that I got to give away on the show, like these like con exclusive. There's a con exclusive like Soldier 76. I got some pins. There might be some other stuff that I don't remember, but yeah, I got some stuff. Oh, I have a golden Hanzo pin that I opened that apparently people want, but I'm like, I'm not trading that. I'm going to give it away on the show because I certainly don't want it because I hate pins.
Also, you hate Hanzo.
I also hate Hanzo. Actually, I don't hate Hanzo. I hate
Hanzo players.
Yeah. But mostly because they're all at my rank, and I hate everyone at my rank, including myself. But yeah, if you have an idea for that, we're probably all the details and stuff will be out on the Twitter at some point. But we're gonna do a formal giveaway, and then we'll probably have some stuff like the like side prop bet stuff as well, which will be super super fun. But we also got another new patron from Mixada, who I think he was from Omnic Lab. I don't remember where he's from, but he has been super active, or she, I guess. I don't actually know.
Might be a Flame Cord guy, to be perfectly honest with you.
Might be Flame Cord. That would make sense too.
What I do know, big Outlaws fan, so big props to you, bud.
They're okay.
Making the right decision off the bat.
So right now, but before I get off track, huge shout outs to Mixada. If you do have a message or you did have one, again, send it to me in a DM on Discord, and I'll get it in for you in the next episode. Yeah, I now that you say it, I do think he's from Flame Cord, but huge shout outs to him. Yeah, right now the Discord is very it's very Outlaws versus Fuel right now. Like
Yep.
that's what the majority of people are, either Outlaws or Fuel. So we've got a nice little rivalry there. I am still a free agent in terms of
Oh
what
my God, this was supposed to be your LeBlanc episode. I'm so
Nope,
triggered right
nope.
now. You're obnoxious. You're obnoxious. People, he knows. He already knows
I
who
do
he's
know.
picking.
I know
I'm
what.
calling
So
you out.
okay, so there's two. I'm gonna have two teams. I'm gonna have one for each division because I think that's fair, right? You want to have one per division, one main, and then one secondary in the other division. Oh, come on.
What? I'm just gonna go back to sleep until you're willing to tell me who you're
Nope.
rooting for.
Next episode we're gonna.
It's a shame. It's a shame you don't like him enough to be hyped about
Oh,
it.
I do.
Hey, Shane Bell. I want a Shane Bell.
Fine. I'll change that myself.
Begrudging Shane Bell.
Shame. Shame.
No, it's gonna.
They're
happen.
worse. They're worse for you because you have to push the button.
I know. I literally have to go through and press the button. Yeah. See, we've already got people in chat spamming burn blue. But yeah, so definitely join the Discord. It is over at highnoonpodcast.com. It's also on our Twitter. It's basically everywhere. It's been super, super active, honestly, and I mean, there's a lot of places that are really active, but not a lot of it is spam. Like a lot of these like bigger Discords are spam. There's very, very little spam at all. Like I don't think there's really any spam in our Discord at all. And if there is, we usually quell it pretty well because I would rather have fewer people that are all good than spam garbage. There are other places for spam garbage, but we are not here. So let's move right along. And I completely forgot to grab one, but I'm playing the sound bit anyway.
Overwatch Today meme of the week.
I don't have a specific Overwatch Today meme of the week.
I've got one.
Oh, you do?
So
Yes!
This is a picture of the new hero that we're going to be talking about
Yes.
shortly. And it says lesson number 1, how to spell Moira equals OPAF. And
Yes.
that was the line from Papa Jeff himself at BlizzCon. Probably the most memeable moment of the con, I would say.
There was a lot of
the Reinhardt voice actor. It looked like so much fun. I hate you all over again.
And I
looking at this meme.
had a really good seat for that too. So I just sat in the media spot. No one that could get me in trouble is listening. I know. Yeah, I found out that you can, if you just turn your badge around and you just act like you're supposed to be there, no one will say anything.
It is called social engineering. Social engineering. I think with a blue polo and khakis and just hi, I'm from the IT department. You can walk into anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world.
Yep. And if you had a blue shirt and khakis here, you could have been a Blizzard employee. But so we will be talking about that new hero who is Moira. That was super fun. But let's move right along to it's tournament talk. So obviously the big tournament this week was the Overwatch World Cup, and the footnote to this, or I guess the header, no, I don't know what the start of this is that we saw the new observer system, and it was awesome.
So good.
It's so good.
It literally changed who I was rooting for in the middle of one of the matches. Like I did not expect that to happen.
Did you start rooting for Australia because of
I did 100%, 100%. I saw the green coming from Team Australia, and I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, Canada. Like you were my number 2 team before because I live 10 minutes away, but hashtag GreenWall. Like I'm not allowed to root against these colors. Didn't work out for me, but was one heck of a match anyways. Really, they all were with one exception. Just a phenomenal event. If you haven't seen the VODs, you have to just to see the new spectator mode. It'll get you so hyped up for what's coming in Overwatch League. And also, it, I think, made a measurable impact immediately on viewership. We had a peak of over 300,000 people watching the World Cup at one time. It was honestly, it just an incredible experience to sit and watch those matches. They were all so close, and it just really did wonders for just the quality of the broadcast. I don't know. I was enamored by it. It was better than anything I thought would have happened. Like, even though they told us generally what it was going to do, I was not really ready for it.
Yeah, it looked like there's just so many little things, like like you said, the effects, the green Transcendence from Zenyatta was so sick. The home and away jerseys, like, you just don't get, like, you can't really conceptualize it until you're watching the event for 8 hours, and you're like, I never had to think, okay, wait, who's on attack now, and like, which team is which, like, okay, they were blue last round, but then they messed it up, and now they're blue, and now they're red. It's like, okay, it's like, nope, I know exactly I know exactly which team is which, everything, and like, even the 2D overlay was so sick. Like, I would just watch an entire tournament of that. Okay, maybe not a whole tournament, but like, I would watch, like, if they incorporated that way more, I would not be unhappy. It's got like the coolest thing, and like, I think everyone I talked to when they noticed this was like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, you can tell like how high they are, and like when they jump, because it dynamically changes and gets bigger and smaller. Like, that's so, like, the little details like that, so sick. And
you
then,
can
like,
tell when they use abilities. Like, I saw a Mercy ultimate under it, and then the Valkyrie symbol showed up instead of the hero picture.
Yep.
There's so much information
you can
conveyed
see what
in
direction they're facing with the little arrows too. It's like, it's so good. It's so good. And like, I really hope that they allow you to have replays where you can see that, like, you can have that screen up as well, because I think from an analyst perspective, a coaching perspective, a self-evaluation perspective, like, being able to see the different lineups and where people are positioning themselves at different times, like at any point in the game, is so useful. Like, being like, if you could watch a VOD with the regular stream, the regular camera, and then also have that like side by side, like, I think is extremely useful and helpful, and I hope that they allow us to do that.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience, and it was less useful than this would be because we were just using like a third person camera operator. But I've done VOD reviews where on my one monitor, I'm looking at my perspective and what I'm doing. And we timed it up so that on my other monitor, I'm looking at the third person perspective, and I can see the entire fight at the same time. And it makes a world of difference. Like, it is so much better to watch under those circumstances. It's, from a coaching, from a analysis perspective, from analyzing other people, just an incredible tool to have. And I can't wait to see it come in, because I, doing coaching, really want access to that, to go over with my guys. I can't wait to use it. I will kind of provide more updates once that hits the live servers and I'm able to start using it in scrims.
Yeah, I think it's just, and like the fact that they said, this is just tip of the iceberg, or, we're not done adding to this. It's like, okay, that's just awesome. Like, this is huge. Everything they did was awesome. There's only like a couple of very nitpicky things for me. The first one was like the Mercy beam doesn't really change all that much when you switch between them. Like, they're slightly different. Like, one, like the heal beam is like the solid color, and then the damage beam is like two smaller colors with like a like blank in the middle. Like, it's very hard to tell the difference between the two. But from what I heard, so Andres and Rob talked to IDDQD briefly at the con, and apparently the players don't see, they have regular colors in game. They don't have the,
that's a fact.
It's just for the spectators. So,
which is great. Great. Like, it's, I think that was crucial to it, right? Because now they're adding to adding things that were needed to the spectator experience, but they're not sacrificing or doing anything to adjust or affect the play in the game. And that is just perfect, 100% the way to handle it. It was well done. I can't stress enough how much the spectator mode exceeded all expectations from me. And I think just going to be huge for the league. I mean, huge, because I do really think it's going to get people more excited for the Overwatch League. I think there's people that had a lot of skepticism that wasn't about the league structure or anything like it was just about the experience watching the game. And if they're making strides like this already, I can only imagine they're going to continue to do things in between seasons and things like that. I mean, it's only going to get better from here, and we're already starting at a spot higher up than I thought they would.
Yeah, I mean, when Monty, like a month ago or whatever, is like, okay, everyone, hold your criticisms until you see the new observer system. Like, Monty, the like most critical person of all time, is like, it's awesome. It's like, okay, I'm in on this. And then it just blew me out of the water. Yeah, and the other little nitpicky thing is like the color of the players' names. A. Smith brought this up, but it was something I was noticing too. Is like they're all like they're slightly different between the two teams, but they're white. And it makes sense because white is the color that shows up on the most backgrounds. Like no matter where they are, like you can still see the name of the player. But I think that they could probably do some things to differentiate it even more. But really, that's just it's just a nitpicky thing. But yeah, overall, like with this being the first event with the jerseys and such, it's like, yeah, no, this was just awesome. Everyone I talked to, everyone I heard about was like, yeah, this is great. And like, I'm super, like people are now more pumped for Overwatch League. I think people who were skeptical, are now like, okay, you know what? I get it now. I can be on board with Overwatch League.
Yeah, they might not be out of skepticism completely, but like they're cautiously optimistic, I think is probably the way to put it now.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest issues that even we have been talking about for the longevity of Overwatch and the like being able to catch on is like the viewer experience, and this drastically improves it. So yeah. Huge steps in the right direction. Kudos to the Overwatch League team and the dev team and whatnot for putting that together, because it was just like spot on. But let's actually talk about the matches that we saw. If you guys noticed, if you're watching the video feed, you can actually see our match ticker down below. We brought that back because I actually remembered to turn it on, and we had shout outs to A. Smith for filling that in, because A. Smith is the best, and anyone who says differently, I will fight.
Yeah, we will fight you.
Combat.
Steel cage deathmatch. We'll drive 100%. To you.
Yeah, you will have to fight the tag team duo of Deathblow and Blevins, and I don't know any podcast that could even get close to taking us. So
it's like 75 pounds of beard alone.
Yeah, it's like 800 tons of monstrous beard that will be raining justice from above. Oh yeah, and we get to call in Phelan, who's underneath the wrestling ring with a steel chair. So, but let's go over these matches. So in the quarterfinals, we saw Sweden down UK 3-0. Canada played versus Australia in an intensely close match, 3-2. Canada beat Australia 3-2. France beat China 3-1. And the one thing I'll note about China, this is a side tangent story. Actually, hold on, I'll talk. And then South Korea beats USA 4-2 because there's a tie there. Yeah, sad boy. So put a pin in the South Korea USA. Let me tell this China story. So the long story short is I had a t-shirt thrown to me in the stands from a Blizzard employee, a normal sporting event with the cannon. There was no cannon. They were just throwing them out. But I got a sealed shirt. I caught it. I got a shirt. Woo. Okay. So the next day I put it on, and it's a gray, Doomfist silhouette face. It's like those minimalist like face sprays of Doomfist. I don't know how to better describe it, but if you saw it, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. It had that, and then I didn't really even pay any attention to it. I just kind of looked at it. I'm like, oh, that's that. And then I saw it said at the top it said leave, and it looked like it was handwritten. And I'm like, oh, so this must be like a minimalist design, and like, well, maybe one of the things of the Doomfist lore is leave. Like, I don't know. I don't pay attention to the lore. I'm like, okay, no. So fast forward like 12 hours after I've talked to a number of people who have commented on how cool my shirt is, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I got it for free. Like, I don't get why you think this is a cool shirt. including Kiki, the community manager from Overwatch. So if you're listening, I now understand that you think I'm an idiot because you remarked on my shirt, and I was just like, I don't understand why this is an impressive shirt. So fast forward 12 hours, and Bare Hands is like, dude, where did you get that shirt? And I go, why is everyone asking me this? Someone threw it at me. He's like, you realize that this is signed by the entire Chinese Overwatch World Cup team, right? I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, leave. And like, it has all of them on there. I'm like, it's like, leave, Eileen. I'm like, oh, and then like all of the light bulbs like triggered. I'm like, oh man, there's like a handful of people that think I'm an idiot or very ungrateful. Or like extremely deadpan for no payoff whatsoever. One of those. So, yeah, I was wearing a t-shirt completely signed by the Overwatch Chinese World Cup team. And I think, you know, if we hit a certain Patreon goal, which I haven't decided yet, I'll probably give it away because it's a pretty sweet thing, and I don't necessarily need it.
If nothing else, it should probably be on the wall behind you.
Oh, it will be. I need to make sure I don't wash it. Like, no, I really don't think this is. Yeah.
Blevins, I swear to God, if you wash that shit.
No, I'm not going to, because that would involve me actually doing laundry. So there's a 0% chance that that's going to happen. No need to worry. But yeah, so that was that story. That was probably my biggest blunder of the weekend.
It was a fairly sized one, but relatively innocent nonetheless. At least you weren't like saying it to the Chinese players or anything like that. Like you weren't like talking to Eileen, trying to secure an interview, and then just like, yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about this stupid shirt. Like that would have been.
I don't even know like, who even cares. It's like Doomfist isn't even a character I play. Like, do you want this shirt? Like, come on, shut up.
The perfect shirt for the Chinese team to sign, though, with how much they love Doomfist in their meta over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to kind of bring us back a little bit to the matches here, you know, the first one we talked about, Sweden versus UK. It was really the only one that wasn't like contested at any point for all the confidence and bluster of Team UK going in.
Kind of ironic. I was thinking that it was going to be closer.
Yeah, they really just kind of fell flat on their face. And it's not that I expected him to win. In fact, I picked him to lose. But I expected competition there. Like, I didn't expect that to be the biggest disparity of all the matches that we were going to see, but it was. They just looked like wholly unprepared for any meta shifts. Like, it makes me think they didn't get a chance to really prepare or play as a team, which could very well be the case considering Overwatch League rosters are scrimming and doing those things. So, but moving us along here, we did have maybe the second best. Like the quarterfinals were incredible, especially two of them. Canada versus Australia was a phenomenal match. It actually includes a reverse sweep here by Canada, so they fell down 2-0 against Australia, who was like the old school blank esports roster, which is really funny, right? Because the MVP for Australia for me, hands down, was Atar. Just hands down. He's not even on the team anymore. Like they replaced him like 2 months ago, but he's still on the World Cup roster. And I mean, they just just dominated Canada for 2 maps, and then Canada kind of got their swing in, you know, got their legs underneath them, really got rolling, and managed to complete the reverse sweep. Some huge plays, huge plays by both sides in this match. Also, if you're an Outlaw fan and you want to know what your guys are going to look like in game in the Overwatch League when you're playing it, Australia looks just like them. Or at least they had the green glow. Like there'll be other secondary and tertiary colors, but it was really great. And yes, the phrase C9 has new meaning now, as Canada committed probably the worst C9 I've ever seen. It was close.
Really bad. And like that whole match to me was defined by, so the first note about that match is I was sitting with Bare Hands, and he is like, this is going to be a complete stomp. Like Canada's going to stomp them. And he went to go smoke a cigarette or something, comes back, and I'm like, yeah, so Australia just won. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, they C9'd. But really the whole match to me was defined by okay, let's look past what the comp should be based on like the players, and like just put Mangachu on Pharah, please. Like no, shut up and just put Mangachu on Pharah, please. Like,
I mean, we've been saying that about every team he's ever played for, but in Mangachu's defense, I thought his Zarya and his off-tank heroes looked better than I've ever seen them.
Yes, he did level them up quite a bit. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think but he's disappointed to not be on an Overwatch League roster, and I think he's really working on that hero pool, and I think it's going to be really, really good for him. I also think there should be a spot for somebody that's that good on Pharah, period, and on a team somewhere. But nonetheless, he was really a standout there as well. XQC was really, really solid. I mean, maybe not MVP levels of solid, but if you give the internet a chance to vote on something, it instantly becomes a meme. So there we go. But yeah, I mean, just a really, really strong, incredible match. Probably the second best one of the tournament. I mean, really close probably with their semifinal match with Sweden, Canada. That was a really, really good one too. But yeah, I mean, we'll kind of leave some for you to watch, but keep an eye out for ATAR and just really kind of the blank roster as a whole. Like, I thought they really should have put people on notice that it might have been wrong to completely ignore Australia when we built these teams for Overwatch League. And makes me hope they get a Sydney team, because I think if you take that roster that played for the Overwatch World Cup and put them in Overwatch League, I don't think they're the worst team by a long shot. Like, I mean, they'd probably be bottom half, but they'd be competitive.
Middle of the pack, I think.
Yeah. So it was really a eye-opening match there from them. Great to see.
Yeah, that was one of the better matches for sure. Then we moved to France versus China. This one, nothing's really jumping out to me in this one. Did anything jump out to you for France versus China?
I spent the whole time trying to get Twitch chat to recite the "Come On Eileen" lyrics with me. And I kept trying to get you to get the crowd singing it. That was what I wanted more than anything.
I just wanted to on the desk. They did that, and
did they?
Yeah, they said it a couple
that
times.
ruins it when somebody else does.
Boy said it a couple times.
But I wanted nothing more than to just hear the whole crowd. Come on, Eileen. That would have just been the funniest thing in the world to me. But I get why you couldn't, because you were actively rooting against them. So it would have. Well, that would have been counterproductive. To
that and the crowd was it took us 10 minutes to get the wave going. Although we did get it to go around almost 5 times, which is about as many as you'll ever see, I think, at any stadium. So
at an esport event too. It's going to take the esports attendees to get into it. It's going to take some time, but I'm glad we'll have loud, obnoxious people in the stands like us.
Speaking of that, Death, people were booing.
Yes!
People booed South Korea, and
Excellent.
It wasn't just me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just honestly, it looked like the crowd had it right, for the most part. We'll talk more about what I thought the crowd, I'm blaming you for the USA losing, by the way. We haven't talked about it off air, but it's definitely happening. So yeah, I mean, why don't we just move on here, because we're talking about France and China. So I mean, nothing really crazy stood out. France is rogue, right? And they're might have been having struggles, and I think I actually picked China to win this one when we did the Omnic Lab crossover there. But they just kind of got outclassed. Rogue's not dead. The team's not going to be playing under Rogue anymore. But those players weren't completely out of it. They hadn't completely lost it. They just slumped in contenders, and they brought it back. They definitely had a solid showing this weekend.
Mm-hmm. AKM was phenomenal the whole weekend.
Yeah, he was really, really good. There was just a lot of solid play, but I mean, it just looked to me like France did just have the. That was the map with the Junkertown overtime. A. Smith saving things again.
Yeah.
Very possibly the greatest, most epic overtime push that we've ever seen in Overwatch. I'm talking, hadn't capped .1 when it went into overtime and finished the map. So it was clutch.
I call that the Dorado, because I've had that happen against me on Dorado 10 times.
I do seem to always have long overtimes at Dorado, for better or for worse. But yeah, it was just a phenomenal point there. And this was kind of one of those maps. Kind of an overall thought on the weekend too is that there was a lot of meme comps going on here in this tournament.
Was it a meme comp? I mean, I think the Orisa, Bastion, Reinhardt, Mercy, and then insert whatever else you want.
the Orisa Roadhog play here, I do think was a bit of a meme.
I think it
but
was
there's
just bad to have if you did having the Roadhog instead of the Reinhardt, I think was just worse for that comp. Like I remember remarking about that and being like, oh, they're doing the same comp except they have Roadhog and it's just not as good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do think like the Bastion and the payload comp is strong on Junkertown, especially while people are still getting used to the map and knowing all the locations. But outside of Junkertown, like the Bastion play bled off of Junkertown in this tournament and went elsewhere.
There's a little bit, yeah. There's a little bit in other places too.
There was a lot of like cookie cutter and meme comps. I thought and not over the top memes. Like it was still very good Overwatch to watch.
Saw a good amount of Torb.
yes, there was more Torb than normal. And I was trying to think of like why this was happening, right? And it's not just that it's an exhibition, right? Because the players can still get hyped up for it, right?
Well, they wanted to win. All of them did.
And that's when I realized that like a lot of, if not most of these teams were like intermingling Overwatch League rosters together. So they can't even go into their practices and their scrims and be like, so what's Cool Matt going to do? Show up to practice with Kai as his coach.
Right.
And be like, I think this is the best composition. This is what we should run 100% of. Like they can't do that right now. So it was kind of just this awkward, like, well, we have to play cookie cutter or we have to play goofy. We can't do what we actually think is best.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So it was just a little bit goofy from that perspective. But this here, France versus China, really kind of wasn't that, right? Like it was able to be a little bit different. France not being a wholesale Overwatch League team, not having other people there, were probably able to try to next level a little bit. But yeah, not the most exciting match, but definitely had its moments. I mean, none of these matches outside Sweden versus UK was boring. Not one of them. So they're all worth watching. But you can skip Sweden versus UK.
Yeah. For sure. And then there's South Korea versus USA.
Was this going to be the third time we call a match the best match that has ever been played in the history of Overwatch?
I think it's the third, maybe the fourth, but I think it's the third. Yeah,
and this was... I was so hyped through it. I was watching this with my team. This was before the disband. And like... I was on Discord with like 5 people and we were screaming. Like my neighbors pounded on the wall during this match because we were that hyped about it. Going into it, it was the guys on the team were like, USA is just going to get stomped. They can't really hang with these guys. Mm-hmm. Like this South Korean roster was supposed to be leveled up from last year.
Yeah.
Where they like didn't drop a map and dominated and cruised the whole way.
Yeah.
And that's not what happened here. The Team USA fought for every inch of every map except for maybe the last one.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the end they kind of tapered off, but yeah, at the beginning it was.
Yeah, it was crazy. We actually took the
first map.
Yeah, the Koth map, the first one.
Yep.
I think we alternated for a couple, and then they actually like tied on Hanamura.
It was USA, Korea. USA. No. Yeah, USA. No, it was USA, Korea, Thai, Korea.
Yeah. So it was really, really close, basically all the way through it. It had kind of the fun moment of like, and we were talking in Discord, like, well, if they go down 3-2, like it's best of 5, is it over? I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not over. Like they drew that map, so they're going to get a chance to try to tie it up in the 5th round. And it was just, to the very end, barring a little bit of a letdown at the end, like USA basically got beat. And what happened here was they had Hanamura in hand, the drawn map. They had it. Like I was watching it and I was sure that they were going to be, all they had to do was capture point 1, right? Like I think it was all they needed was like a tick. It wasn't even a full capture needed, but they get there and they get like a 3-kill advantage and they're going through it. And then guys, if you didn't know this, like Flower is just ridiculous. I mean, he just hands down.
Never seen a carry like that. I've
if
never
the
seen
MVP
a game be carried like that.
Yeah, if the MVP went to the most deserving player, it would have been Flower 100%. Not to discredit XQC, he had a phenomenal tournament.
He did.
And when it's public vote, that's how you get there. But like, if it went on merits alone and just play in game, Flower hands down. He carried them that map. It was him, and I can't remember who the other guy was that helped him. But they like each got
Olby,
2.
I think.
Yeah, it was probably Say by Olby because he also had some hard carry moments.
Yep.
Man, that New York team's going to be scary once they add Flower to their list next year in season 2.
Yep.
But yeah, so and really at that moment, right? It went from like we were so sure to oh my god, this can't be happening. No, 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 no. To
Yeah.
oh, and like watch the clip. There's clips of it. You could see and hear the air get sucked out of that room.
Oh, it was so quiet. Like it was
Inside.
weird. It was weird. Yeah,
Had
it
to
was
be.
literal. Like it was literal. If the fans and stuff weren't on, like it would have been actual like complete silence. It was
And
insane.
that's
a
where you
full
come in,
arena.
Blevins. That's where you come in, man. That's why I'm blaming you.
No,
I didn't hear
man.
one USA chant. I didn't hear one. Like that's what the crowd needed
There
to do.
were USA
after
chants.
after Hanamura. After Hanamura, I don't
Oh.
recall hearing a USA
Okay.
chant, not loud enough to break into.
Let me tell you something about having your voice get destroyed in the first 3 maps. You,
I don't wanna hear it.
US. So it was a perfect allegory. USA was down and it's a type of thing where like if you've ever played sports and you've ever played something or you've ever done like the biggest thing for me is like when I used to wrestle and used to do like that type of like very very physical. I mean, I'm sure even in football or any sport really, it's like you push and you push and you push and you push and you're so close and you're so close and it's back and forth and you're physically exerting yourself to the absolute maximum, and then there's a little bit of a tick down and you drop down a little bit, you can't get back up. Like so it's like you physically like it's like that like your arms are jelly and you're like I don't even remember being able to push anything like this. What's going on? That's just how it felt.
You can't get up from that on your own, but you can be lifted up. It's like somebody can pick you up and put you back on your feet. And I thought that's where the crowd needed to step in. And just a USA chant, like you just get them going. They had momentum. They were hyped. The players were hyped.
Yeah.
And once that moment happened, you could see it in the play on the screen. You could see it in the players' faces when the camera went to them. They tilted out. They got upset.
Yeah.
It got in their head. And it really, really impacted them, and rightfully so, because it was a demoralizing way to go from like, we're tying it up, we just need one more map, like to just being as hyped as humanly possible and probably favored, right? Because I really think if they get that map, they probably close it out because like nobody said we could be here, like that whole that it seems cliche, but when you're in it, it's the realest thing in the world. Like nobody thought we could do this. Everybody was against us, and it motivates you so much. And it went from that to like, how did we let this happen? We're losing now. Like, what is this? It's about we crushed them there. That was our map. Like, just trying to figure it all out instead of just riding that wave. And you could see it. And I thought, very specifically, I thought Sinatra's play dropped off in that moment. You know, just thinking he had probably the most impressive play outside of Flower on Hanamura with his Widowmaker. The most impressive play was him kind of closing out Sanctum on the Koth map there. Just the way he was able to harass, like he was living in their spawn area, right? Like he was back over there getting kills and like jumping, triple dashing past tanks and killing Mercies. And like he just had some really, really standout play. San Francisco should be very, very excited. And then it just kind of got away from him. And I can't really I don't mean to pin it on him because you could see it in Jake a little bit as well. But Jake like had moments, right? Like he still got some kills, and it really felt like Sinatra kind of disappeared off the kill feed a little bit too much, and just everything. The whole team did though. I mean, there's no isolated one person was to blame here. I just thought maybe he kind of had the biggest impact, or he was the most affected by it.
Well, I mean, like Jake is the captain, but like. It's like Jake is the senior who's the captain of the team, but Sinatra is the freshman that they pulled up to varsity because he's that good. And like, yes, the team looks up to Jake as the captain, but Sinatra is the star, right, of that team. Yeah. And like if he falls, like, and like he's 17 years old, so like not necessarily having the and like I don't know what his background is in terms of competition, whether he played sports or esports or whatever. I mean, he's 17. I don't blame anyone in that position to not like. I don't blame him for not rising to the tip top of the occasion and really pushing through. Not everyone can do that, and that's the type of thing where like,
especially in the worst moment,
and if it's one of the first times you've dealt with a situation like this, like all the credit in the world to him, and I think that in the coming years we're going to see him be able to push through that adversity and really be the leader that Team USA needs.
This is the sort of stuff we talk about when we talk about how important LAN experience is. The ability to fight through that stuff and to not be taken away and swept away by the moment, and to be able to sit back and look at, all right, we've just one map and then we're tied with Korea. Like, they didn't lose Hanamura, but they acted like they lost Hanamura. They just drew it, and it was not a net negative for the team.
Right.
But it crushed them. And that's the sort of thing, like, by the time season 1 of Overwatch League is over, like, these problems are going to be
so much LAN.
right.
So
much LAN. It's going to be ridiculous that those problems are going to really go away. So I don't worry about any of the players that might have LAN problems right now. You know, you look at the Misfits roster going to, you know, almost or mostly, if not all 6 to Florida. Like, I have worries about them for season 1, but like not long-term worries,
right?
Because everybody's going to be infinitely more experienced than anybody is right now. Overwatch has been like completely off LAN for the most part, and almost entirely online throughout its duration so far, and that's going to change drastically. So it'll be a phenomenal experience for all those players. Get that squared away and kind of get these issues behind them. But to move us along, we did have to go to a 6th map here, and I can't remember what map they actually played it on. But it was really interesting, and I think it telling for what will happen. Like, in Overwatch League, if they get to 2-2 or 3-3, would that be no, that couldn't be possible, because anyways, but if they end up tied, like, we're going to be moving to another map. Like, I think there will be decisive outcomes here. I don't expect to see draws in Overwatch League, although I don't know that we have official word on that. We'll have to try to get it. But yeah, just, I mean, a phenomenal match. The outcome didn't go my way, and like, there's just no disappointment. Like, I don't feel let down. I don't feel anything other than just pride that, like, that was the team I was rooting for, the one that lost there. Like, it was that good of a match that I just felt super pumped. And listen, anybody who really thought these Korean teams were going to come into the Overwatch League and take things down, like, that was half Seoul and half New York. Okay, so the best of the Korean roster, or the Korean talent pool, had to offer here, and like, it was super, super close.
Yeah.
And this was only half of Outlaws, even, right? Like,
right.
So I love that it was my team too that had half the roster there and put up such a good fight. So I don't know. So any negative you could say, like, yeah, but it wasn't like a full roster doing it. It wasn't a full roster on either side, and it was. Right. 3 people from what a lot of people call a middle of the pack Outlaws team versus 3 people from everybody's consensus top of the heap 2 teams.
Yeah.
Going against each other, and it was incredibly close. Like, there is not as big a gap as people think there is in between the regions. It's more about like the infrastructure, all those benefits that we've talked about Korea having. But guess what? Everybody's on a level playing field with that now.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the same resources to draw from. Everybody's under the same salary cap. Everybody's being picked from the same pool of players. And so that's all going to kind of wear away. And I think I'm just so excited for the league after watching how close that match in particular was. I think it's going to set up great rivalries of, Western teams versus Korean teams. There's going to be a big one of those somewhere. Probably Dallas versus Seoul would be the favorite, but who knows? I mean, there's a lot of really talented rosters here in Overwatch League. Like, I don't know if you've worked on your power rankings yet. Probably not, since you've like had time to walk in the door and fall asleep, and that's basically it. But it's so difficult after, like, everybody has their top 5 and who they think is going to be there, and that'll probably be easy for people. But after that, it becomes like impossible. Like, you just feel like you're throwing darts at the dartboard.
Well, plus you have to think about it per division too, right? Like,
a little bit
you have to think about it per division. But yeah, I mean, just and who would have thought that we got this great of matches from the quarterfinals? Like, we've already had this long of a discussion, and we're just at the quarterfinals.
Yeah, we're gonna probably bruise through the semi-final match here, but.
So yeah, we saw Canada versus Sweden. Canada takes Sweden 3-2, which this was like the match that most surprised me. Like, I did not think that. I thought Sweden was going to have an easy. I thought Sweden was going, like, I was thinking, like, theoretically, if USA beat Korea, so USA's bracket, if they won in the first round, they would have had to beat Korea. Then they would have had to beat Rogue in order to have to play against Misfits in the finals. Like the hardest bracket ever. And I'm over here thinking like, oh, well, Sweden's going to have an easy breeze, like basically right to the finals. And it just didn't happen. Like I would consider Canada versus Sweden an upset in my mind. I mean,
it's hard to argue with. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you.
Like looking at it from beforehand, I absolutely think it's an upset. Looking at how well Canada played afterwards, it's like, okay, well, maybe I undervalued Canada, but I think going into it, I don't think a lot of people picked Canada over Sweden in that match.
No, I would definitely agree with that. I know I wouldn't have. I didn't actually put out predictions or anything like that, but I would not have picked Canada to win that one. Canada was just a very pleasant surprise all around. I thought they played with a very solid, just team cohesion that I think was hard for a lot of these teams to match, except for, but even that, they beat rosters that were mostly whole teams.
Yeah.
Just a phenomenal tournament from them. But yeah, the Canada versus Sweden match, definitely a really, really good one there with the 3-2 score. It was, in it till right at the end.
Yep.
Can't say it enough. Everything but that Sweden versus UK match. Go watch it. 2x speed if you got to. It's all worth seeing.
Yep. And then we saw South Korea versus France. South Korea beats France 3-1. And I think that one was pretty close in the beginning, at least. And then
my memory actually is that it was kind of the opposite, right? Like I think South Korea came out to a 2-0 lead, and then France took a map, and then Korea finished it off. But that was, if there was a second one that you can skip, it's probably that one. Yeah. But nonetheless, I think it's very telling to see the Rogue guys go up against the Korean talent. But yeah, I don't know. That one was tough because it didn't feel like, when you were watching it, it didn't feel like France was getting waxed or anything, but right. It just, the scoreboard, like Korea just stayed consistent, stayed strong, played their game, and won the maps, even though France was able to contest them, and give them a fight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the tale, if nothing else, of this World Cup was that Korea was not untouchable. Which was nice to see. It would, I think it really kind of would have taken away from, maybe not taken away, but it would have been less exciting for sure if there was another 12-0 sweep. But then in the bronze medal match, we got to basically see who wore it better for the Rogue jersey. Was it the current Rogue team, or I guess the most recent Rogue team, or the Pluppy version of Rogue? And looks like the Plupster took that one as Sweden beat France 3-1 in that bronze medal match. I mean, the last note about Team France is, like, one of the bigger stories of the whole thing was, the end of an era with this Rogue team, and AKM and I really most of that roster just not being on Overwatch League teams. And just it kind of being a little bit sad that one of these teams that's been, I mean, it would be like if Envy disbanded and like didn't go to Overwatch League. Like that would be kind of sad. A, because they're such a great team, and B, just because the history behind them. I mean, it was a little bit, in a way, I would argue that the Cloud9, like that old Cloud9 roster was kind of like that. It just wasn't as big of a splash because it kind of dissipated over time. And some of the players, Kai became a coach, and some of the other players are still. I mean,
they were one of the, to your point, they were one of the three teams that had that kind of dynasty feel to them. Like there was the Cloud9 era, the two Envy eras, and then Rogue had a run for themselves too for a little bit.
Well,
and
the original Envy was, well, actually, even I guess the old Envy era was the IDDQD era, when they were called IDDQD, the team, not the player.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, they were one of the big faces. So it's definitely sad to see them go. I do hope we get to see them back. I want to see them in contenders. Like I don't want that icon, that face, to go away for sure. Mm-hmm. So sad to see them go, but sometimes in order to create, you must destroy.
And I mean, biggest thing, like one of the most tweeted about and written about things was like, how in the world is AKM not on an Overwatch League roster, like by multiple people, like across the thing. And like, I think he even said that he was one of those players that was like, I don't even care that much about my salary. Like, I just want to be on a team that's going to win. So
Yeah. See, it's weird because the fact that he's not on a roster yet makes me think something like contract jail or something like that is at play, but his comments don't speak to that at all. Like his comments are nothing but like disappointment and I don't understand and he feels like he did the work. Like that. It's not what he's saying. That's the impression I get from him when he says it, and I don't even disagree with him. So it might sound like a knock on him there. I just don't want it to actually be that way. Like there's no, I don't know. It's a weird one.
It's one of those things where I think it just seems like one of those situations where he has the right qualifications. Obviously, he's put forth the work, but he just didn't do the business side of it right, is what it sounds like. I mean, this is completely this has no insider information or anything behind it. This is just complete speculation. It's like, he has the stats, he has the experience and whatnot, but he just didn't. It just seems like he didn't have the conversations or the right conversations with the right people.
It's a thonker to be sure. Yeah, but we'll have to see. I don't think it will be long that AKM is not in the Overwatch League.
I mean, either Contenders Season 2 or depending on what the rules are for pickups and free agency during the actual league.
Yeah, and we had 2 of those today, literally today. So there's got to be something in there for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like for each. Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Let's just finish out the rest. So we saw, and then the gold medal match, we saw South Korea versus Canada. South Korea beating Canada 4-1 in that best of 7 grand finals. This is another one that was at times it was close, but really it wasn't as close. I mean, how crazy would it have been? Like, I think exactly 0 people would have picked. I think very few people pick that final specifically, and I think even fewer people that pick that finals pick Canada winning. So, like, if Canada had won that would have been, I think, miraculous to say the least.
Yeah, and it's just had that feel watching it where it was just like, I mean, Canada, I don't know that they had like the mentality of like, we're happy to be here, we didn't expect to be here, but I mean, that can kill a team in a situation like that. But it's just a matter of like they felt a little just outclassed. Like it was kind of the first match to me where I just thought maybe mechanically the teams just weren't on the same level, and it was random, so it was fair, and there's no negatives about it. But it was just a shame that USA match wasn't the finals, because that was the only thing that could have really made this World Cup a better time, like a more fun experience, was to have it culminate and finish with that USA match instead of have that lead us off. But I wouldn't have minded if a match of that quality let us off, but it was just it set the stage for an awesome event, but it just was so good. And it's rare that you have matches that are that good that you just want them to be the last thing you see from it.
Yeah. I have to say, from my perspective, I was a little happy that it happened then, because I actually got some time to explore the rest of the con after you. Because if USA was still in it, there was no way I was leaving that arena, because I definitely did not leave the arena on day one. But let's move right along, and
let's break it down.
We'll break it down. New hero, anyone? New hero released at BlizzCon. We got Moira. She is a support. She is a support. I got to play her briefly at BlizzCon, but I know, Death, you've been fiddling around with her on PTR. Do you want to give us a little bit of a quick overview of her?
I've been maining Moira for the last 24 hours. She is basically awesome. From the videos, it looked like she was going to be kind of this Symmetra Zenyatta hybrid character, and it wasn't clear, how effective of a healer she would be or how much damage she would do. And so essentially, if you're a World of Warcraft player, think of her as a drain lock, okay? So your right click is a Symmetra-esque style beam that falls off way, way easier than Symmetra's does. Yeah. But it has like 3 times the range of Symmetra. And that heals you up as you channel it on somebody, and it drains their HP.
Wait,
unlike
Symmetra, heals you too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yeah, she has a self-heal and baked into that right click, and it's nutty.
I did not realize that.
And it also fills up her healing meter, right? So she has this
Right.
resource that allows her to left click, which is kind of like a TF2 Pyro, but
Yeah.
instead of revealing
Shooting out
spies
fire.
and killing people, it heals them and doesn't reveal anybody. Honestly, it's
like a
85
healing flamethrower.
85 health per second is what it heals, and it does it to everybody within the cone. So just nutty healing output, to be perfectly honest with you. It's way better than I thought it would be. The resource meter lasts a good amount of time, and I'm talking like 15 to 20 seconds from full charge, where you can just spam it without stopping. But once you run out, you obviously can't left click and you can't heal your team anymore. So it's very important with Moira to be in a position where you can right click and get some damage in too. Like, you have to alternate. So it's a very bursty style of healing, but there is kind of it lasts long enough that it's kind of consistent. I don't know. It's a really great hero design. I really, really like it. It feels very, very powerful to play while not feeling OP to me in any way, shape, or form. There's a couple abilities they might nerf. I don't know. We'll see. But some of her other abilities is she has an orb. That's why she kind of felt like Zenyatta-esque in a way. But these are different orbs. They don't attach to
Symmetra
people.
orbs, almost.
Yeah, they're more like Symmetra orbs. But these bounce.
Yeah.
So they go off things and redirect, and you can throw either a healing or a damaging orb. I'm not 100% sure if the damaging orb increases your resource, which would be awesome if it did. But I'm not 100% sure if it does. Or you can throw a healing orb that kind of bounces around and locks onto your teammates and heals them passively. Just a really, really interesting hero design. The last ability, the shift, is like this half a second, like it's super, super quick.
Yeah.
Where you go completely invisible, and your movement speed is like 800%.
Yeah.
You fly.
It's like
and
super sombra.
yeah, super, super somber movement over just the shortest of time frames. So it feels like a blink when you're playing against it. And it's not really until you play with it that you realize, oh, you're just actually like moving. Like, you actually have to do this.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very high skill cap hero. I just want everybody to be very aware of that. You're all going to do it anyways, but it's probably not the best way to just screw this guy up on day one of comp if you're on a lower skill bracket. And maybe just avoid comp altogether, no matter what skill bracket you're in, because people are definitely going to play Moira like a DPS hero and just get wrecked for the first week and a half or so.
Yeah.
But, overall, I really thought this was going to be an interesting hero that would complement dive. The movement felt very divey to me. Having played it, I think it's going to I think it's going to be a huge death ball hero now. I think she has the ability to not be a Zenyatta support healer type, but to be a main healer. Like, if you're in a death ball comp and you've got, Reinhardt, Zarya, and Roadhog all standing within the cone of that healing, your output for healing is going to be absurd. Like, you can just drop shields and let Moira handle it. Like, it's that much healing. So I don't know, she's going to be really, really interesting. I would not want to dive her, right? Like, I would not want to be Genji and try to dash at this hero. I don't think it's going to go well for you. The fact that she heals herself while damaging means she's going to be very good at 1v1ing people and battling a lot of heroes.
Yeah.
With that said, I think Moira's very counterable, right? Because you're limited by your range, which makes you completely useless in a long-range fight. Completely useless. You will have no value whatsoever against a McCree in a window up on the second floor, or against a Pharah in the sky. So, and that's where I think, that's why I don't think she's OP, because she feels super, super powerful. But I also feel like if somebody's smart and knows what they're doing, like a Widowmaker, or any long-range hero, can just kind of invalidate you.
Yeah.
But with that said, if you're in this death ball composition and you're constantly behind a shield and your Zarya is aware of you and supports you, and it's a hero that is really powerful, and I think you can build your team around and support to kind of make her work all the time if you wanted to. But it would take a very high level of play and a high level of coordination, something you can't do in solo queue comp, or you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just feel like she's in kind of, and it's weird to say because I haven't felt like this about a single one of the heroes they've put out yet, but like just the initial PTR drop, I feel like is perfect. And it might need some adjusting once the people kind of live up to the skill cap that she has baked into her. But until then, like I say, just let it go. Like I hope they don't touch it at all. It feels great. And it's also going to be the first time, maybe I'm just saying that because it's the first time that I'm ever in the role that's getting the new hero. But not having a team, I guess, kind of shakes that up. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited. I think all healers are, and I think she's gonna make a big splash on the meta, and also not be like an automatic must pick. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I think and she definitely, at the very least, it seems like she's going to be super fun. So I'm definitely going to be trying her out, and hopefully I'm not complete garbage because I would like to add another support into my playable in ranked queue. So I'm going to try to run through a lot of these other ones because we do have to get going to run a little bit late. We've got a new map. It's a hybrid map. It's called Blizzard World. And I played on it at BlizzCon. It is pretty sweet. There's a lot of little Easter eggs and whatnot in there. But in terms of like the actual build out of the map, I mean, it's not going to be released till 2018, but we're just going to have to wait and see kind of more of the details on that and give you a little bit more of an analysis, once, we can actually start playing on it more, and get some comps on it. Along with this new Moira PTR patch, we also have an Ana buff and a Mercy nerf. I believe the Ana buff was we got her damage went up, right, Death? She now 3 taps.
Yeah, they're basically reverting the damage nerf that they gave her previously that everybody kind of thought was uncalled for. And it turns out it may have been. So yeah, she'll kind of get back a lot of her 1v1ing ability, and should, I think, be pretty good for just the meta overall. She's gonna feel a lot better, and I pity the people that have to play against Ryu Jae-hong because he was still crushing people with the nerf damage.
People with it, yeah, it was insane. And then the Mercy nerf is that she's not invulnerable during her res, right?
No.
No.
She's not been invulnerable during her res for quite some time.
Oh, okay.
She slows her movement when she casts her resurrect by 75%. There's a significant delay before it happens, and if anybody knocks her back, stuns her, anything like that while she's casting it, well, no res. Have a nice 30-second cooldown. Kills Mercy dead.
Good.
Obliterates her off the face of the metagame. As somebody asked to play her, damn right it was good. As fine. Somebody that kind of likes watching, like I don't mind watching Mercy. I just hate playing it. Like I have no issues with the hero. I just don't want to play it myself. And I don't know. It might be too much. But no matter what, I think they needed to remove her because I think the quality of gameplay is down with her in the meta right now.
Yep.
They needed to remove her and then try to get her back to like able to be played with Pharah again. Should be.
I mean, it's one of those things where like, I mean, we've talked about it way back in the day where it's like you don't necessarily have to run Mercy, but if you're if the other team's running Mercy, you have to run Mercy because you're just at such like that resource is so huge. Having the extra lives is so huge. So it was like an auto pick, which is generally not a thing that we like to see in Overwatch. It's also, especially like, I'm just thinking as much as possible, I'm thinking about new players coming in and watching the game. Like you can understand pretty intuitively, like, okay, this person's dead and they're down for a certain amount of time. I don't need to worry about them. But like when you have to like, and like, I can see, oh, my team has 3 kills. There are 3 kills, versus 1 kill. That it makes very intuitive sense in terms of like, okay, my team is ahead right now because they have more kills. But like that math and that like, not even just the math, but the like, okay, I see this is happening. I see this is happening. I see this is happening. Just, I intuitively can understand what's happening. I intuitively know my team is doing better and my team maybe is making a push forward here. That I'll get a wrench gets completely thrown into that with the Mercy reses. And like not only just the Mercy res, but then the ult factored in. So it's like someone that's new to the game that even if they know what Mercy res does, like factoring in like, does the Mercy have ult? Like those are all things you have to like cognizantly and consciously think about, and that in some ways detracts from the viewing experience in some ways. So I like her ability is still there. So like if you want to play Mercy, like by all means, but like I don't mind that res is not a staple in pro play. I'm fine with that being the case. But let's move right along. I'm going to run through a lot of these announcements because you can check them out on the Overwatch League site. You can also check them in the show notes. So we got a lot of structure for Overwatch League and some news. So Overwatch preseason and regular season schedule have been announced. The preseason is going to be December 6th through 9th. Regular season starts on January 10th and runs until June 16th. The postseason is the day after, right at June 17th to July 28th. And then All-Star Weekend, which is kind of cool to see that they announced, is August 10th to 12th. So the weekly schedule is going to be 3 games a day from Wednesday to Saturday at like different staggering times to try to reach as many different fan bases across the world. Games are going to be a standard 4-map setup. Seasons are going to be broken down into 4 different stages. Each stage will have a 3-team playoff to determine the phase winner. And they're going to be playing. So each season is going to be broken down into 4 different phases. And then, so for playoffs' sake, it's going to be total season record, but each of these phases are going to have a bonus. I think it was 125K.
Something like that. I can't remember.
It was a good amount of money that you're going to be playing for each phase. So, even if you come off to a slow start, or even if you bomb phase 1, you can still keep grinding, and you have incentive to play your hardest for every single phase, because even if you're technically out of playoff contention, you're still playing for that phase. So you could have had a horrible first half of the season, come back in the second half and still be playing for that money and still be putting on a good show for your fans. So I think the way they did that was just spot on.
I'll agree there. I think it's really great. It's going to help with the quality of play late into the season. A lot of times you'll see, thinking in traditional sports, you'll see teams kind of like go into this tank mode, right? Like the New York Giants right now, and the San Francisco 49ers are like just the worst teams ever at the moment. So they're just like leaning into it. They're like, oh yeah, we just traded for this quarterback, but like, I mean, we might not play him this year because we got all these things to do. And nobody likes that, right? Like, because those teams have fans that still want to go out there and root for their team and see them win on the weekends, and this will help, right? So when we talk about teams in the future like San Francisco that maybe we're not big on season 1 because they got 2 young guns that aren't going to be coming in until late, maybe that's going to hurt them for the playoffs, but that doesn't mean we won't get a chance to see them in the stage finals, because once they get fully together and start gelling. And so the only thing I don't like about this is it creates this awkward, like, 2 standings that we need to look at. Yeah. But I think for the most part, we just throw out the stage standings. They are not relevant in the overall, right? Like, I personally, even if it's the team I like, I mean, I want them to win the stages, but just because I want them to be thought of as a good team, like, I don't care about how much money they make, in all honesty.
Right.
Especially in bonuses that are, like, split evenly. Like, I might want certain players to make more or whatever, like, pay this guy, but I don't care much about bonuses. Sorry, guys. But so I don't know. So I'm just going to personally be ignoring those standings completely, and then just be talking about who's still in the running. Like, look at them when they're relevant at the in the last 2 weeks of each stage.
Right.
Take a look.
I think the stage playoffs will be a nice little like mini tournament inside of the. I mean, it won't actually be a tournament format, but it'll be nice. Actually, no, it will be. It's a 3-team playoff. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
So
but
it's likely to be the number 1 seed from the stage gets a bye, and then the 2 and the 3 play each other, and then the winner of that goes on to face them. It's just going to be more Overwatch for us to watch during the Overwatch League, so there's no complaints here. And it will always be against the best teams. And stuff like this is where your rivalries will get made.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most fun thing about these to me, is these are going to help. We don't know for sure if these playoffs, I can't imagine they do affect your ranking or your standing at all. But because the play, I can't imagine it would be I think it would be very bad if they did. Because you can't have teams with different records, right? Like they have to have the same total number of games or the whole system breaks down, in my opinion. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just going to be a little goofy. This is one of those things that I think is a really positive change, but it's hard for me to analyze because it's weird, right? It's not anything I'm used to. I can't equate this to like, oh, this is just like the NHL does it, or it doesn't. There's no correlation.
It does pass the eyeball test, though.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. The only knock I have on it is the kind of double standings thing. But overall, I love that they're doing it. I think it's going to help a lot.
I think I mean, the long story short of it is it gives players incentives to play even if you bombed a stage. And it also just gives us, I mean, even if it's kind of artificially, it gives us more storylines. And like you said, it builds the rivalries and whatnot, which I think is going to be awesome. So moving right along, we did get the announcement that the league is going to be separated into 2 divisions, at least initially. We've got the Atlantic and the Pacific. Atlantic is going to feature Boston, Florida, Houston, London, New York, and Philly, while Pacific features the rest of the teams: Dallas, the LA Gladiators, the LA Valiant, San Francisco, Seoul, and Shanghai. The only thing I don't like about these 2 divisions is that Dallas and Houston are in different divisions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was both of us or whatever, but excuse me, we kind of called this one.
I didn't.
So basically what they did is they drew a line right down Texas and wrapped it around the middle of the whole world, okay? And everything on one side is in the Atlantic and everything on the other side is the Pacific, and it by far makes the most sense. But here's why it doesn't bother me, because it would be nice to have Houston and Dallas in the same division. It doesn't make much difference, because what's going to happen here is teams are going to play 20 matches inside their division and 20 matches outside of their division.
Okay.
So what we're going to have is that still means, right, you're going to face everybody in your division this year. Everybody will face everybody in their division 4 times. In the other division, you're going to face them 3 times, except for 2 teams you're going to face 4 times.
Gotcha.
So it's only a 1 match at most difference for how often they'll play against each other.
It's just going to be the phase tournaments that are basically
right,
going to be.
right. And even the playoff seeding, they said, is going to be, you'll have the first place team in each division will get a bye. Mm-hmm. And after that, it doesn't matter. Mush them together. The top 6 teams go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not going to be, X
like
from each
baseball.
division. Right.
Gotcha.
So it's not going to be like they're separated into divisions, but the impact that will have on who plays who and all that stuff will be lessened.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I guess I kind of like that better, because with the phase, with each phase having its own basically champion, it's going to lessen the blow of not having like an Atlantic League division, or an Atlantic Division champion and a Pacific Division champion, like baseball or football or basketball.
Well, you will have that, because those people will get buys. So even if the best 5 teams are in one division, and then whoever the first place team is in the other division has that round 1 bye.
Oh, okay. So
there's still something to play for within your division.
Okay.
And there's still a division champion, but
it's
it's not as huge of a deal as it is in other sports.
Gotcha.
Like you can have divisions in football where literally I've seen teams with losing records win their division and go to the playoffs over teams that have like 10 wins. Like New England, I think, literally had like 11 wins one time and didn't go to the playoffs because of the division structure, which should be avoided at all costs if possible.
Yeah, no, actually, this is just better.
It seems to be for the time being. But with that said, I almost wish there was a little more stress. Maybe run an Atlantic Division stage playoff and separate in the meaningless just for money. You know what I mean? Like I might like to see 2 different ones, but that just creates all this extra time on
I think there is.
I think it's one big one. I think it's the top 3 across everything.
I don't think so. I think it's for each. We'll have to confirm this, but I'm pretty sure, because it's 125 per stage. So maybe it is. Maybe you might be right. I don't know.
Yeah, I got that impression that you have from listening to it. That's what I thought it was. But then once because I went through each schedule, I know which 2 teams people play more than everybody else. I can give that to you guys if I hate, but it doesn't. But we'll do those for the power rankings. I'll give those to you guys next week. But yeah, and I didn't see a spot for that. I just saw 2 matches basically thrown onto the schedule for these. So that made me think that's not the case. But we'll get official word and hopefully, I can't say anything yet, but we should be able to have a conversation for you guys before too long that can just directly answer all these questions for us. So stay tuned for that announcement coming up down the pipeline. That's our first tease of it, Blevins. I'm that excited that I threw it out that early.
Yep. So yeah, we also had, so we're going to get all sorts of stats on the new Overwatch League website, which I believe is overwatchleague.com.
Yep.
And there's also going to be a companion app released. So head over to overwatchleague.com. You can register or whatever and get emails and stuff, I guess. And then the app will be pretty sweet as well. Rosters have been listed on the new website too. Basically everything you need in terms of official league announcements and such is on overwatchleague.com. Most importantly, merch is going to be available on December 6th, which honestly I think that, like, why isn't it available now? Like, why can't, like, people buy, like, December 6th is like that's for people who are not Overwatch League fans but know that their kids or their nephew or their cousin wants Overwatch League stuff. That's like a late date to order it, especially considering, like, who knows when they're going to be shipping and whatnot. So a little bit weird that it's that late. Like, why don't you just let us buy it now? But
as long as they can be underneath people's Christmas trees, I think overall it's not going to be too bad.
Right. Well, I'm saying it's a.
But I sure
like,
did want to
little
order
bit of
my
a late
Outlaws
date.
jersey already.
Right. That's a little bit of a late date.
Yeah.
For those. And speaking of the merch, all those, the home and away, the home jerseys, and as well as the hat merch for each team has been revealed. And then also all the skins have been revealed. No mention of how they can be purchased or how they're obtained or anything, but we have seen the home and away jerseys in game for all the teams. Tickets are now on sale for the preseason, which is going to be, of course, at the Overwatch League arena in California. The cost is about $20 to $30 a ticket, between 20 being the low and 30. So that's a relatively reasonable price for a ticket. I'm sure once we get regionalized events, those ticket prices are probably going to be different, especially if there's like season ticket packages, etc. So I'm interested to see where those ticket prices will go. I'm glad that it's not like $100 a ticket up front, because I think that would price a lot of people out right at the beginning.
If you're in the area, it's cheap. Go.
100%. I would love to go to at least one day of matches in the first season. I don't know if that's going to be able to happen. We've still got some contenders and open division news that is forthcoming, has not been announced yet. We did get news that Overwatch League will be sponsored by HP, Omen, and Intel for season 1 at least. And I think that was all of the actual news that was revealed at BlizzCon for Overwatch League. Any lingering thoughts on all that stuff, Death?
Infinity lingering thoughts about all those things, Blevins. I still have questions. I don't have my head wrapped around what those questions are yet. I still need to stew on some of this information. But we got what we bargained for. You know, we got the guts. We know what's going to be happening here. All the cards are on the table. Yep. If you're not hyped yet, check your pulse, because you may have died.
Yeah, you might actually be dead.
Yeah, it could be the case. But yeah, I don't know. I can't wait. Like, it cannot come fast enough. We've got so much to talk about before it comes out. Like, for the show, I almost wish it would wait 2 weeks, because there's so much to talk about and look at and preview for it. And we got all of this so late. But at the same time, I just want to start seeing it, right? Like, nothing will be more hype than it actually going down. So let's get it going.
One thing that I'll end it with is, you know, it's basically been the assumption that we're going to be able to use these team skins and buy these team skins, but it hasn't been actually confirmed anywhere. They've shown what the skins look like, the home and away jerseys, but we know that those are the player jerseys, like when we're viewing Overwatch League. And we also know that the players don't even have those skins in game. So I want to just make sure that we can, in fact, use and buy, or maybe not buy, but acquire or buy or whatever those skins, the jerseys, both home and away. Like, I think that there will be a lot of backlash if they're like, oh, no, this is just what the players use on stream. Like, that's just what you see. You don't actually get to use these. There's going to be a lot of backlash if that's the case.
Yeah, if that's the case, they should have caught wind of the expectation and the excitement to have them and play
Yeah.
with them and squashed it early because it's run a little bit too
Right.
rampant if we're not going to definitely get them.
I mean, they already exist,
But-
right? Just put them in the game.
Right, right. I mean, to an extent, they exist. Yeah.
They do, right? Like they've been programmed. They're in the game in some capacity. Like I don't know how much. Like I'm not an engineer. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
much
mean,
more work it is to put them in terms of being able to use them and acquire them.
I just can't definitively say. I mean, they exist to the point where we can watch them in the esports client. But there could be bug problems trying to put them into the main game. There could be,
Yes.
I mean, there could be countless things going on from a programmer standpoint that I can't vouch for.
Right.
Could have unintended consequences on any number of things, literally. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I would love official word, like, you know, hey, we're hoping to put these in by the finish of stage 1, or you know, just give people a heads up.
Made me.
Nice.
I had this kind of. I just had this in the back of my head for a while, and then when they didn't say like you'll be able to buy Overwatch League Season 1 loot boxes available December 18th for $5.99, like when we didn't get anything like that, the that little thought in the back of my brain kind of peaked up even more, and it's like,
Festered.
oh boy, yeah. So there is going to be a lot of backlash, specifically from me, if we can't. Although not from my wallet. My wallet will be very happy, but I will be very sad if we can't acquire.
We
those.
do know there will be something. We just don't know if it's going to be like a Season 1 champion gets a skin, or, you know, we don't know. But what we do know is that the money spent from in-game purchases relating to Overwatch League stuff will go to the Overwatch League prize pool, or at least contribute to it. So we know there will be something, but yeah, we don't know for sure that we're going to get, you know, one skin for every hero at home and away. You know, we don't know for sure we're going to get all that. So hopefully we do.
I'm hoping for the most stuff. I also want to be able to have like the green effect too. Like that's what I want as well. But I'm not.
You can kill that. You can kill that dream.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
not going to happen.
I know. I'm not keeping my fingers crossed for that, but I do want the other stuff.
I'm gonna choose to read into the fact that you chose the color green there. And I'm gonna get hyped up for your Leblev announcement.
All right. Well, you can keep getting hyped up.
Yeah.
So
Only so I end up disappointed, and that way I yell at you, so it's more entertaining.
Yeah.
But-
And then the last thing we have, I know, Death, you needed to do this shame of the week.
Yeah. So a lighthearted shame of the week, by all means. We both loved the bit.
Yeah.
But Monty got me, so he's got to get. I got to shame him for it.
Shame.
He stole our bit. We've talked about doing the like. Just wear layers of T-shirts, right? So you can be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm a South Korea fan. I'm a USA fan. I'm a South Korea." And he did it. He had like a USA shirt on. He's a known South Korea supporter, and he came out with the USA shirt on, and the crowd went nuts.
We went
and then
nuts.
he ripped it off, and it
And
was
then
a
he got
South
booed.
Korea shirt, and
He
then
got
everybody
booed.
hated him. It was a gloriously spectacular moment. Like, it was phenomenal. It was a top 10 anime betrayal of all time.
Yeah. It was great.
But it just,
I mean,
for debating me and going against
Shame.
your motherland,
Shame.
Monty, you need to
Shame.
endure this shame.
Yeah. And so we've had this as a running gag for a long time back in the old Envy versus Rogue days where
Yeah.
like there was the joke that I would just have multiple jerseys on underneath, and every time one of them won a map, I would switch back and forth. So there's that. And I was literally joking about, I almost went and bought a South Korea jersey and did the bit beforehand, and I would have looked like an idiot. I was talking about it with the people I was sitting with. I would have looked like an idiot because Monty would have just stole my thunder, and I would have been like, man, I'm going to look really
I
stupid.
sure do want that $60 bit.
I know, I'm gonna look like a stupid poser. It's like this stupid South Korea jersey's just signed by the whole Australian team for some reason. But yeah, so boy, that was a lot of stuff to talk about, and we breezed through a lot of it with not as much commentary as we would have liked to. So this is just a drop in the water in terms of the stuff that we're going to be able to talk about in the ensuing weeks. But yeah, so next week, so we have we've got Mineral from Florida Mayhem. The coach for Florida Mayhem is going to be the high noon hot seat for this week, so keep an eye out for that. We are next week going to be doing. Are we announcing what we're doing? We already kind of talked about it. We're going to be talking about power ranking.
Yeah, might
Our
as well
power
tell 'em.
rankings. Yeah, we're going to be talking about our power rankings for next week. So if you guys have your own power rankings, get them ready, and you can compare them to what we've got. We'll be talking about them next week. We'll be going over all the rosters and all that stuff in more detail. We'll also be picking up any news or anything that happens. I can't imagine we're going to get a ton of actual news this week because I think most of the people at Blizzard are probably sleeping right now from BlizzCon.
I mean, Boston signed 2 players literally today, so anything's certainly possible.
Yeah.
We'll cover those signings as well as talk about the 2 rosters that were not public. By the time we did our last episode, we're going to talk about those next week. Like you said, we're going to do our power rankings. I'm going to give you mine. I'm just going to tell you 1 through 12 exactly what I've got. So if you want to try to compete in that game on the Discord, you'll have some inside information. They won't be final. I'll adjust them after the preseason and submit them for the game. But hopefully we just want to start getting you guys close to as hyped up as we are. If you need the help, otherwise you're right there with us already and want to hear all this stuff anyways. So everybody, pick your team. Tweet at us. Can you tell us who you're supporting? We want to know. Anybody, if we've ever heard from you, even if you're not a Patreon anymore, if you're not in the Discord anymore, we don't care. Find us, tell us. We're super hyped.
Also, if you're not in the Discord anymore, just join the Discord.
You should probably
open.
just do
it's open to everyone.
It's better now.
It's awesome.
So, check that out. I don't know. I don't want to end the episode because there's still I just feel like we've got so much more to talk about.
But you've got places to be. So
I'm already 20 minutes late.
Yeah, so we're going to end it there. Also, next week I am going to be revealing who my number 1 and also so I'm going to have a number 1 team. And I'm going to have a secondary team in the other division. So we'll be revealing that next week. But, guys, that's going to be it. Tweet at us. Let us know who your favorite team is. And also get your power rankings ready for next week as we will go over them. And also join the Discord so that you can get in that competition with Raycor is who's doing it, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't mess that up. But that's going to be it, guys. Huge thanks to everyone everywhere, the patrons, the new patrons especially, the old patrons also, especially to A. Smith, the Thorn Rain, the content supporters, and really the backbone of the show at this point. A lot of where we are right now would not be possible without you guys. So huge thanks to them. Huge thanks to Matcherino for supporting the SoundCloud. So all the SoundCloud listeners, a lot of people like SoundCloud, so give thanks to Matcherino for that. Guys, you can find everything, all the links everywhere. I won't even go through them. Go to highnoonpodcast.com. It's all there. Join the Discord. That's the one thing. For your own benefit, just join the Discord. It's a great Discord. Not even for my sake or for the show's sake. Join it for your own. We have a lot of fun in there, a lot of good discussion, and it's very candid. There's not. It's not corporate or anything. So, but that's actually going to be it, guys. For Deathblow, I am the Blevins. Oh, and also a huge shout out to Adam Hoke, who made the awesome music you're about to hear. But that is, in fact, going to be it. Remember, guys, it's high noon.
Go GreenWall!
Got his boots and he put on his hat. He threw the coin away that same day. It's in his past and he's not looking back. He says, finding mine now guides my way. He's not good, but he sure ain't bad. He'll make amends for the sins that he has. He says, I'll change the world one bullet at a time till I find mine.
And my team for Overwatch League Season 1, it